Hello and welcome to K-Stop, Fuse's K-Pop podcast. Hello, everybody. This is Jeff Benjamin, and per usual, I am joined with the Ungjung to my Cree, Tina Zhu.
Hello. Yeah, this is our first post-election episode of K-Stop.
Yes. Welcome to a whole new world.
Surprisingly, we are we're not completely, I don't know what the word is. Like, we're in slightly okay spirits considering all that's happened in the past week.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, my whole week can change the world. But yes, if you remember last week, we were
wishing everyone a happy election day.
Yes.
And clearly, the results were not what we expected or what anyone expected.
Yeah, lots of people.
But of course, we also don't want to start this episode off on a negative tone.
No, or maybe you are happy with the results, as half our country is America.
Oh, yeah. Statistically speaking.
Maybe a little less than half, but
I think our audience, I would think, would skew the other way, but also don't want to keep this too political. So we'll just say we have been in better spirits.
We have, and it's a rainy day here in New York, but that doesn't mean we're not excited to record another episode of K-Stop. Because we love chatting with you guys. We love talking with you guys, and as always, as we always say, you guys are as much of this show as we are.
Some comments and feedback?
We got some feedback.
Okay.
And by feedback, I mean we should see who the readers chose as the best comeback of last week.
Oh, that's right.
If you remember, we talked about BAP Skydive, Mamamoo's Dekalamani, or however we decided we wanted to pronounce that, and Hyorin's Paradise. Who got the vote in the end? I think I went for Mamamoo.
We both went for Mamamoo.
Yeah, they got last place actually this week. 23% of the votes coming in. This one was pretty close actually. No one got over 50% even. Very maybe serendipitous to our election about how close things were. Yeah. But BAP came in second place with Skydive with 36% of the votes, and Hyorin pulled it off with 41% of the votes, pulling off about a 6% win about. So yeah, everyone was within 20% of everyone's votes. So nice job to everybody. Clearly, it was not a runaway success this time, but that's great. We love seeing some good competition. So glad to see everyone.
That's dope.
Glad to see everyone voting. And yes, and as you guys know, every week we love seeing your guys' comments. We love seeing you vote on who was your favorite release of the week on Views.tv. There's a playlist of all the music we're talking about. Hit us up anytime on Twitter. I'm at Jeff__Benjamin.
And I'm Hey_Tina with 3 A's.
Yeah, don't forget, Fuse has other podcasts about hip-hop, about throwback, about pop. Check it all out. Support your fellow Fusies.
Fuse Podcast Network.
The Fuse Podcast family, the Fuse Family Podcast. Then we hope you guys are enjoying, because now this is episode 41 now. My gosh.
Crazy.
Going crazy.
We gotta do something really dope for episode 50.
Yeah, episode 50. Whew, 10
just a couple
weeks.
Months away.
Just a couple months away. Yeah, indeed. But I'm really excited about this episode in particular. Tina, what is first on our list of what we're going to chat about?
Why don't we start with Tiara?
Tiara.
Since they actually dropped their comeback video and album.
Yeah.
I think when we released last week's episode. Yes. So we decided to save it for this week.
Yes.
It's also very timely since, kind of. I mean, I feel like now that Halloween has passed, everyone just immediately goes into Christmas mode. It's super, super aggressive. November 2nd, Starbucks,
it's true.
Hardcore Christmas, caroling music. I was
it's so true.
Listen, we still have a whole nother holiday to get through. But Tiara is, coming back with a Christmas themed comeback, I guess, release.
Yeah.
Called Tiamo, which is Italian for I love you.
Tiamo.
And their comeback has been highly anticipated, especially in China, where they are very, very popular.
Right.
I would say, would you argue even more so than in Korea, maybe? I don't know.
I mean, well, yeah. I mean, this is, I just, yeah, well, like this is one of my talking points kind of like about this song because, yeah, they, of course, if you don't remember, if you weren't part of, this very, in my opinion, this was one of my earliest big controversies, like experiencing it like story by story, but I still think it's like a huge story, just how Tiara had this bullying scandal when, with one of their members. This is when I think they were up to 8 girls in the group, and remember Hua Young, I think it's pronounced, was said to be bullied. The group, said she was leaving the group, but then there was all these rumors of discord and bullying within the group, and they never really recovered from that.
That doesn't surprise me. They don't seem very nice. They just seem like they bully each other. Like they don't. I never got the vibe of like
camaraderie,
inter band support.
Sure.
I mean,
I'll at least say that, like, I remember, looking at the evidence and seeing, the quote unquote, the evidence that was shown by fans. And I just remember thinking, like, this is kind of weak. Or, I'm
sure a lot of it was reaching, since netizens tend to really lock in on, like, really minute kind of details.
Yeah. But, and at the same time, I remember, upon further reflecting on it and kind of seeing, the aftermath of all of it, like what they were kind of doing with, or all the quote unquote evidence. And like you said, a lot of it was blown up, was stuff that like you saw from a lot of other groups and especially boy bands. But I think, them being a girl group,
but females are cattier.
They're cat. I don't know if they're catty or not, but I will say I think netizens in particular are much harsher,
they're harsher
on the girl groups, and they think if not everyone is sugary sweet, huggy, lovey, hugs with everyone, then they're automatically fighting. Which I just I've seen it so many times that like there'll be articles about which girl groups don't get along, but like nothing about the boy bands. I'm like, man, this is this is
like
awful.
It's
just because
like,
it's so
that
much,
whole narrative doesn't even pertain to boy groups, I guess.
Right, and we totally do it. Not to say it's a Korea specific thing. We're always talking about how if Fifth Harmony is fighting, if or it's just easy to pit females.
I just said like females are cattier because I feel like it's just
you're playing into it.
I will say we're a little pettier. I mean, in certain respects.
And more or less, I feel like guys are kind of more go with the flow when it comes to just needing to work with one another, maybe. But it's such a media thing just to pit two, 3, 5, or in Tiara's case 8 females against one another. So yeah, they kind of. It's just been
never really bounced back.
They never bounced back from it, at least in Korea. And for some reason, just really, they were. I remember they were kind of up there with 21 and Girls' Generation, and
I wouldn't go that
in terms
far.
Of chart success. Do you remember like how many of those like catchy, like stupid catchy hits like they had? Like
I try not to remember those.
I mean, I loved Roly Poly, and what else was there?
The
you see that
of them all.
That's one I don't love, but I just.
But no, that was like a really catchy one that people like. Loved,
no, they really knew how to create that just undeniably catchy hit, and for the longest time they were up there with like most number ones, or at least I remember when the K-pop Hot 100 launched, if anyone remembers that, at Billboard. I was interning at Billboard at the time, and it was like Tiara number 1 like every other week. It was like crazy.
That's fair,
but they somehow transferred whatever energy they sort of at one point had in Korea, and they did, I think, pretty well in Japan, but they've just skyrocketed in China, which I'm still trying to totally understand, but more or less I'd say they're basically at the top
like
over there in China.
Because wasn't Kata also pretty popular in China?
I thought they were huge in Japan. I know they were huge in Japan.
Oh, they were big in Japan. Never mind. I'm trying to figure out, because I feel like Kata and Tiara are kind of similar aesthetically, maybe, but like obviously Kara's like way more like more aggressive, like more like playing into other genres of music. But I guess in terms of like their appearance, maybe they appeal to certain audiences more. But I don't know.
Well,
I really don't know.
Who knows what's going on with Car?
Going
Well, they just
with-
banned it.
That's true.
That's what happened. Yeah.
But to your point of them always grabbing that kind of catchy hook, do you think they brought it this time?
Well, so now,
with
here's my thing about this. So I feel like this is not what I think of when I think of Tiara. It's not that, very hooky, I think a big part of it is that they've kind of struggled to totally figure out their sound post Scandal. Like, I think, they knew they could do this catchy stuff, but then lots of times they were just trying to like almost distance themselves from their past and like do something different. They had some really aggressive EDM songs. That song last year, the Brave Brothers song, So Crazy, which was voted Fuse's #1 K-pop video of the year, by the way.
Right.
They kind of went back to that a little more, but this almost seems like them still trying to get back in the good graces of Korea like trying to do something different, do something safe. And I kind of want them to be like, no, just go with that. Go with something crazy,
This
funky.
was very kind of standard girl group, kind of like wispy sounding.
There's
nothing too crazy.
Right.
It's not bad.
It's not bad.
It was. I I don't like Tiara very much, but like this wasn't as like far from what I had. Far from, what am I trying to say here? It's not far from what I thought would be. I don't know what I'm saying anymore.
It didn't turn you off.
It is farther from what I expected it to be, is what I'm trying to say.
But in a good way for you. Because you don't really like their core sound.
I don't know if it's like a good way. I mean, like, if good means like I didn't like turn it off right away, I guess that's good.
Right. And I don't know. I mean, I feel like, it's almost kind of like, yeah, they're playing it safe. They're keeping it, as, easy listening as possible. But I kind of want to be like, why? I mean, like I was saying, why not just go back to, what initially made you just so famous, because I almost feel like you have this huge fan base in China, like that, I was reading these articles, like the new music video got 120 million views on like China's
on like Tudou.
So what is that for people who don't
it's
know?
like a YouTube in China, kind of.
So China kind of doesn't allow like YouTube and Google and things like that.
Yeah, so it's like its own like video sharing platform. It definitely lags a lot more. It's not as seamless as YouTube, but no, Tudou is like the go-to kind of like video upload platform. And
but how do they get 120 million?
There's also a lot of people.
There's
China.
a lot of people. But YouTube essentially, I would think, caters to the world minus China in certain areas. How has no group ever gotten like it that quick? I mean, maybe I'm just not totally.
I don't
maybe
know.
There's an intensity that I'm just not understanding there. But
I don't know.
Kind of what I'm trying to say too is that maybe. They really, maybe what I'm not understanding is that maybe they just nailed it with the seasonal thing. And, they just sort of came out, it is catchy in its own way. It is very seasonal. And maybe that's what people are drawing themselves to.
Right.
They look really pretty in it. It's like, very.
They look very angelic.
They
and
do.
Porcelain.
Totally.
It's interesting because if I were to just hear the song by itself, I wouldn't think Christmas necessarily, and I would just probably think this is a very safe path that they chose for this comeback. But paired with the visuals, I thought, okay, this kind of makes sense with the visuals. I'm not mad at them for it.
Right.
It's just very like, it's not my cup of tea. But I guess if I would, I don't know. I guess if I had listened to it by itself, I probably would have been turned off more quickly.
But kind of, if you're in this sort of holiday spirit, you're like, okay, I can get it.
Okay, like if you're thinking Christmas, you're not thinking like really aggressive, like, like
beats,
EDM, like super hooky, like whatever, like, so, I mean, it is what it is. I think the song, I think, will do well on charts.
Really?
I think has a better chance than
they're passed up.
For sure.
I agree with that. It's kind of like, if this doesn't work for them, I'm not really sure what will.
Right.
And did you see they did some of their comeback stages last week, I guess, or last weekend, and they like brought out some like children to sing with. Like it just looked like
it was so
they are
just like, oh, look at us being so like
right, they're really
motherly and caring and just like,
I'm all for not needing to like go full on apology tour, and everything, but this was almost like, look, we're holding the children.
Look how wholesome we are.
Yeah, and so
look how agreeable and we would never bully anyone.
Right, we would never bully anyone.
Yeah.
And they have now that younger girl group to look out for.
True.
DIA or Dea, whatever we call them. Dia. Right.
I don't freaking know.
So maybe it's almost kind of like, okay, please don't hate us. We are doing our best here. So we'll see how it works out for them.
I thought
it
was cool how I think someone said they were using sign language when they were dancing for like the Tiamo.
I didn't notice that, but that's really cool.
I certainly don't know sign language, but I think
that.
I saw that in a comment, but I'm not going to co-sign that or like
it's literally
confirm that, I guess. I think that's dope if they did do that.
For anyone with ears or without. Sorry, not with ears. Anyone who can hear or maybe hard of hearing, Tiara is for you.
Yes.
So
I thought that was very random, but very cool.
I'm here.
The outfits left a lot to be desired.
Really? See, I liked them. I mean, there was a little like. Do you remember we were talking about with Twice's outfits and TT? Mm-hmm. They had some very curious looking sweater dresses.
It was a little too childlike for me. The second dance scene, the first one where it was everything's kind of like asymmetrical. I thought that was kind of cool.
I like that one.
I thought that was okay. The next one was the pattern. I think the material looked a little weird to me.
See,
so
I
wasn't fully into that.
Didn't leave an impression.
Yeah, I mean, overall, it was very Winter Wonderland, and they're very. I like one of my first impressions of Tiara was like they look very porcelain. They look very pristine. They look very kind of Korea girl group aesthetic. They have always had that going on, so they have that working to their advantage. They're consistent in that sense.
There you go.
But no, like. The song's fine. I thought the scenes of Cheong in the field was kind of like not needed.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was very disconnected. Didn't really translate well. There wasn't a real storyline to it.
No, not at all. And if anything, like why wouldn't like it almost that read to me very autumnal and like very like leaves and Thanksgiving and whatnot.
Right.
And then the rest of it was snowflakes and
maybe
red
that was
and
like the
white.
transition moment. I don't know. That's a reach,
theory.
Honestly. It's a reach.
But
Homegirl did not need to be in the wheat fields.
Not need to be in the wheat fields. Well, did she need to be in the wheat fields? Did you guys dig in this Winter Wonderland? I mean, if anything, it's kind of the first introduction to, there's a lot of sort of seasonal holiday releases.
I haven't peeped the rest of the album.
Me neither, but I plan to.
I don't know if I plan to. Maybe you listen first and let me know which ones you think I'll like.
For sure, Tina. Of course, I got your back. But yes, let us know what you guys think because
Tiara.
Tiamo. Who's next on our list, Tina?
Let's go with wait, who's the third person we have? No, I know, but we had another person. Oh, yes. Let's go with Astro.
Oh, Astro.
Astro.
New boy band on the scene.
Just going with the kind of seasonal theme here.
Yeah.
Since Astro, despite only debuting, I think, last year, they've had a couple EPs, right?
Yeah.
And they were all season based. So their first one was Spring Up.
Oh, were they?
Summer Vibes was the second EP, and this latest release is what is it? Autumn something.
It's called Autumn Story.
Autumn Story.
You're so right.
Which means winter's gonna be like Winter Woes or Winter.
Yeah.
Winter
blues or something. Seasonal depression. No, I'm kidding. No. Astro,
Fuzzy winter slippers or something.
Oh, yeah. That's a much better take on it.
I don't know.
Yeah, Astro is, of course, or Astro, well, if you don't know, that they're rather new, and I think they actually debuted this year under Fontiago Entertainment. They're,
Is that last year?
I'm pretty sure it's they're just new this year. Yeah.
They released 3 EPs in 1 year.
Yeah, they're not messing around.
Well, that's just crazy.
Fontiago is the home to Hello Venus now, and they had 1 or 2 girls in the IOI girl group, so they're probably prepping a new girl group too. But Astro is I don't know. I was kind of curious to talk about them in particular because I remember I saw them at KCON in Los Angeles, and they got a really big response. And I was thinking like, I wonder if like they could be like, sort of one of those new boy bands that people are kind of taking notice of.
Right. Like keep your eye on them.
Yeah, and they've done like okay on the charts in America.
And like even in Korea, their EPs like charted pretty well.
Yeah,
and they had their own like reality show, and granted, like I feel like it doesn't take much for companies to get their
for idols
for idols to get reality shows. But I think people were tuning in clearly.
Yeah,
and they had like a good number of YouTube views for this new release, which is called Confession.
Yeah, what'd you think of it?
It's very J-pop.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's very J-pop. It made me think of Prince of Tennis, mostly just because it was on a tennis court in some scenes in the video, which is a Japanese manga, turned TV show, whatever.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know what it is. So I'll just, at least with the song, too, like I feel like they kind of, and this is sort of like a critique I hear a lot about a lot of J-pop music, is that lots of times it just doesn't feel totally current and totally fresh.
Right.
And that's sort of why lots of times like these songs don't have that sort of mainstream crossover appeal that I think a lot of K-pop acts tend to have.
Right.
And this one, I don't know, like the production just felt a little dated, a little cheap, as if like they kind of deserve, like this group, because watching the music video, I felt like they deserved a better song.
Right.
And, because I loved, getting into the video, I loved seeing, their sort of preppy, sporty look, They're doing really cool things with the choreography. They look like they have a lot of energy. And then I was like just a little let down by the song. And I was sort of going back to, I remember I listened to them because I remember hearing a lot of hype about their debut. Like they had the song called Hide and Seek. And I remember like, oh yeah, this song was a little lackluster too. And I remember kind of liking their what's the song called? The song was called Breathless from their second Summary EP.
Okay.
And I was like, man, like, they're really close. I feel like they're on the verge of something great.
They're just right on the cusp of like.
Yeah, and they clearly have a lot of interest in them. They have a fan base. I remember seeing a big response. They did great at KCON.
Yeah.
But just not totally there.
Yeah, I think a lot of songs that have that J-pop tone to it is very. I don't want to say it's one note. I'll just say it's. There's no real surprises in that song, and it's very kind of like it's kind of like almost like a 90s pop version, but the J-pop version of that. I don't know. I feel like a lot of J-pop songs I've heard do sound very similar to this. I mean, I like some like Japanese hip hop and stuff like that, and some Japanese artists and some Japanese R&B. Yeah. But so I don't want to make it sound like I know like listen to J-pop a lot, but from what I've heard, I feel like this is very kind of generic J-pop-esque.
And it's just, and it's almost a shame because, I really feel like this group has a lot going for them. But just, I just kind of was hoping for more. I was waiting for that song to really go there or like hit
it didn't really
bigger.
Go anywhere. I think that is what we're trying to get at. There wasn't. I just feel like it wasn't edgy enough. There wasn't like a pow to it.
Yeah.
I thought maybe the rap part was okay, but then the rapper pretty much sounds like every other K-pop idol rapper.
I can't say that part stuck out to me either because I can't even recall it.
Trying here.
But right, and I think our thing is too is that like we, when you're, or I think what I'm sort of getting at is that when you're a new group and when you're new to the scene, you know, you're trying to do as general public friendly like as possible. You're trying to, you know, do something
Right,
that
you're trying
will
to
be
appeal to a bigger audience.
yeah, totally. And they're clearly they're trying their best to do that. But, you know, in my opinion, it's not working well enough to a way that will hook a larger audience. You know, like they'll probably, this is fine. It's not a bad move per se.
Right.
It's just not something that I think is going to totally make them stand out on a really competitive scene. And, you know, as long as they can, you know, keep performing and kind of keep, you know, like you said, there's a good amount of YouTube views. There's like, you know, there's a good amount of interest. They're charting fine, but are they going to break out big time?
Right. I think like at least the idea of the video was really cool. They, you know, were drawings and they came to life.
Yeah, right.
Even that aspect was very like Japanese, like pop culture to me. Even that aspect. So, yeah, I thought the visuals were cool. I didn't love like the choreography. It looked just like super like struggle boating to me.
See,
it was just really like awkward to me.
Because I remember in the hide and seek video in particular, they had some really cool like kind of almost like Tumblr like moves, like they were like standing on top of each other and whatnot. But I would have loved to see that more.
I think that they were doing a little too much.
Oh, I see.
Like, why are you giving me like gymnast moves? That's
well, you gotta stand out, Tina. I applaud them for that. But I did love, at least in the video, I don't really remember the choreography in the video. Maybe
it was just really awkward. They were on a tennis court, and it was just like out of nowhere.
Yeah, I agree with that. It kind of didn't totally line up with one another. But I will say I liked the ending. The ending was quite nice, I thought.
Yeah.
Where like he's like kind of like, you know, like is tearing up at this girl, and it almost, you know, and if I'm understanding the song correctly, it's like confession is referring to like confessing of love, and like, you know, it's almost like he's getting ready to like say this big thing. So maybe they're hinting at, you know, going, you know, if this was sort of their very youthful, too scared to say anything in the past, you know, maybe this maybe in the future they're about to, you know, be a little more honest and open and whatnot. So kind of curious to see where that may take us in Astro's future when they inevitably release the Winter Blues.
Or
whatever.
They are very young though, like it's
they?
like 16 or 20 or 21.
Yeah, no, 20. They're very
I guess
young.
that's like kind of standard, but they just also come across as even younger with this type of concept. So.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah. So you know, it's interesting, you know, I've kind of been seeing Astro, you know, I've seen a couple very new boy bands like Snooper and K&K is also releasing.
SF9
SF9 who's FNC's new group. You know, they're all sort of lumped in this sort of, you know, group and they're all kind of coming back at the same time. But
the group would be called the New Goo Group.
Yes, but we thought Astro was deserving shady, dude. But we thought they were deserving at least of our time because it seems like they're sort of, if anything, sort of ahead of the pack or leading the pack.
That's
you know,
true. Yeah.
You know, so.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So let us know. You know, is Astro your guys' pick for the new boy band? Are you guys feeling this one? Let us know because we're very curious. Who should we hear a lot about the new girl groups, but the new boy bands, not a ton. But to totally flip that on its head.
To a veteran boy group.
Veteran boy band, but always keeping it 100, always keeping it fresh.
SHINee.
Yeah, we have SHINee.
Tell me what to do.
Tell me what to do.
Which is off their repackaged.
One of one,
right?
Yeah, and I don't know, like when I love this song.
I like it a lot too. I liked it right away.
Yes. Oh my gosh. The
production's fantastic.
Oh yeah. It's like it's not, you know, I remember reading they're like, oh, they're coming back with a seasonal ballad R&B sort of thing, and I was a little nervous about it because I thought it was you know, they're not to say that they're bad at doing this, but they are, you know, they're very known for this dramatic R&B sort of, you know, like I was thinking, yes. And I was kind of like, okay, like those are good. But as a single, I don't know. But this I don't even know if I would call it R&B.
It's not.
Per se.
Sometimes they describe things very inaccurately. I don't know what they think R&B is over there. this maybe had tinges of R&B, but it was definitely more like pop rock, more rock than, or I don't know.
It reminded me
Rock.
of just sort of like electronic.
I was gonna say it was like a little bit of like dance with rock mixed in.
Yeah,
It was,
or like
it was hard to classify it.
Yeah, which is the best K-pop
Right.
is always hard to classify, which is why I love it. But yeah, this just felt like sort of like I don't know, it gave me very like melancholy electro pop sort of
Yeah.
vibes, and I think why I loved it too is that it's very subtle. It's not
Yeah.
it doesn't even
Nothing, no genre was overpowering the other, I feel like, on this.
Yeah, and this is going to be maybe hit a nerve with you, Tina. But it
What?
reminded me a little bit of like the kind of production we heard on Carly Rae Jepsen's last album, which, by the
Okay.
way, is a total compliment.
Right.
I remember when people thought
No, that's not. No.
'Cause it kinda like
I just
has
haven't
this-
thought of it like that.
it's very synthesizer based,
Right,
very
right.
moody,
No, you're right, you're right.
subtle, but like it still explodes into these very like lush choruses.
For
and
sure,
like,
for sure.
It reminded me a little bit
Okay.
of like "Run Away with Me," which is
Okay.
like the greatest pop song
Oh
of
yeah,
last
no,
year.
definitely hands down. Like,
But yeah, it just sort of it kind of kept growing. It was just very subtle, really
Right.
nice, just really well
I
done.
remember sounded great.
Well,
Really?
hold on, I just gotta say,
I know you're not about to say something bad about Key. That's my boy.
No. He brought it. My critique was on the rap. I thought the rap
Minnow?
Minnow was just a little. I was kind of at the rap, and I'm like, wait a minute, it just felt a little off. Like they got
Okay,
mixed.
alright.
Maybe it got mixed a little weird, or the timing got a little weird. But then
Okay.
they save it with like I think Key or comes right back in.
He
right
comes,
after
I
that.
think, after.
Yeah,
him.
and it's just
Yeah.
like saves. I'm like, okay, thank goodness that was just a quick stumble for an otherwise
A-
flawless song.
A quick bloop on the.
Because I really do enjoy this track, and I think it's just,
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of times, the repackaged songs, I feel like they're either repackaged songs are either completely throwaway, you
yeah.
just don't even remember them, or they bring something really fresh, really
Right.
unexpected.
I think this
And-
is the latter for sure.
Yeah, and One of One, I still sing that song to myself all the time. So catchy, so fun, but it didn't. I think like you say a lot. Like I didn't know exactly like when I was supposed to play this. It's like it's catchy.
Maybe when
it's
you're getting
fun.
ready, like
Maybe I
in the
don't
morning
know.
or
maybe
getting
when
ready
I'm
to
getting
go
ready in the
out.
morning. It's just
something and like kind of
yeah. It's peppy. It's fun.
peppy, hype you up a little bit.
And I loved it. It was a very strong idea, but musically, it wasn't in my opinion, the best SHINee song.
Yeah.
This one really
This
brought
one was great.
something just so
Yeah.
unique, and I can't think of another group that would have. I mean, Junghoon sounds so
He sounded
good.
great,
Oh
yeah.
my god! Like he is just like I was getting chills every time.
Right.
Like he just brought that chorus.
Yeah.
Like oh my gosh.
It's like they brought something new, but this still felt very SHINee-esque.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I can't think of another group that would have pulled this off like as
For
well.
sure,
And
yeah.
I'm even trying to like go through
Just
my
because
head.
they are a very versatile group. Like,
yeah, but it had that maturity that we've
Mm-hmm.
kind of come to expect from them now. If you remember last year, they did "View" and then they
right.
did
And
"Married to the
I
Music."
love that song. 'Cause
"View" was incredible.
I haven't kept up with SHINee that much because later on, a lot of the songs kind of started blending together for me. But "Views"
Yeah.
really stood out. I like that one.
Right.
Or is it plural? Views or view?
View,
Okay.
yeah, and then but I almost feel like "View" and "Tell Me What to Do" pair better.
Yeah,
than,
I agree.
But maybe they're just trying to show lots of different sides of them,
Yeah.
which you can never fault.
And I
anyone
like
for.
aesthetically, like styling wise,
Oh,
they looked
yeah.
kind of 80s
Yeah,
rock,
and-
grunge a little bit.
And it was once again subtle, nothing like
yeah.
smashing over you with the
I
head.
like this much more than the crazy like hats
Yeah.
and hair and like freaking like like really extreme colors.
Right.
Don't gotta do all that.
You don't gotta do
don't
all
gotta do all
that
that.
for to make a great song. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just really impressed by it. And
Was this an SM station release?
No, this was just
This was only
SHINee
them?
comeback. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And what's kind of cool is that the same producer who did One of One did this song too.
Oh,
And it's
okay.
Shine Mike on Twitter, or his name is Shine Mike on Twitter. I think his producer name is Shine Mike too. And he just I think he's also showing his versatility too. And I'm
sure,
like,
yeah.
hey, like
I
amazing.
gotta check his other.
Yeah, he's done
projects
some
out
other
then.
stuff too. He's one to watch for sure in terms
Yeah.
of like and he's from Chicago, so
Oh, okay.
Shy Mike. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's from Chicago. I think that's what the Shy stands for.
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
So they're gonna be promoting this.
I think so. I mean, I don't think it's the repackage. Yeah. So and they had a
So
couple
is
other
O'Neal
songs.
recovered? I
He
haven't been
must.
keeping up.
Well, actually, I didn't. There was no choreography in that video, so.
Oh, that's true. But you
may-
know, if they perform it, they have.
Yeah, they
They're
gotta
not
do
gonna
something.
sit and sing this
Definitely not. So maybe we'll
We gotta look
maybe
into
we'll
that.
We'll see. I'm very excited though to see kind of
Yeah.
what happens, and it
No,
comes
I'm
with
very
5
happy.
new tracks. So
Yeah. I haven't listened to the other ones, but
yeah, So very excited.
yeah, I'm very happy with this
Yeah.
repackaged release.
Me too. So if we're gonna give our votes, then it can
SHINee
kind
for
of tell
sure.
where we're both leaning.
Yeah.
But yeah, it sounds like it goes to SHINee for sure.
I think. Well, I'm
Congrats.
very interested to see how this showdown goes. I mean,
Yeah.
not
Will
to
it- will
not
it-
to disrespect Astro, but I think we can safely say that's gonna be between Tiara and SHINee, and both have very large fan bases. So
Yeah.
y'all, please vote.
Yes. Or will the newcomer come out and, slay us all? We'll have to see.
Okay.
We'll have to see.
We will have to see. Yes.
Yes. So thanks. Yes, that was our new releases of the week. So
Yes.
now we move into our chart section where we take a look at the top 5 K-pop songs on US iTunes right now. And spoiler alert, one group has completely taken over the top 5.
BAP.
No.
Really?
It's SHINee.
Oh,
So-
duh, that makes sense. Yeah.
I feel like
I'm in
just
it
for
again.
at least just to get a little variety's sake, let's
Go
do
to
top
like
10
top
this
10.
week.
Yeah, for sure.
Just to let everyone else know what else, because clearly SHINee is doing quite well.
Right.
If you look at the albums chart, SHINee, one of one, the repackage album is number 2 on the K-pop charts, but
Okay.
actually Blackpink is number 1. So,
Okay.
but let's quickly get into the top 10. Coming in number 10 is Taeyeon with 1111.
Yeah, love that song.
Yes. Number 9, BAP Skydive. Congrats. Number 8, Hey Mama, XOCBX.
Okay.
Still doing well. Number 7, TT by Twice. Number 6, Playing with Fire, Blackpink.
Nice. Okay.
Number 5, here's where we get into SHINee world. Number 5 is Wish Upon a Star, one of the new songs from the repackage. Number 4, also, well, all these are from the new
Right.
repackage. Number 4 is called Beautiful Life. Number 3 is If You Love Her. Number 2 is Rescue, and number 1, of course, is Tell Me What to Do.
awesome.
It's awesome to see that people are supporting, because lots of times those album tracks just aren't really all the way up there. But
Right.
I'm curious now to listen to these because clearly people are coming out full fledged for these
Yeah, no, we
these
got- we
songs.
gotta
And
hear these.
I liked the album, the SHINee album, the One of One album. So I'm curious now to see kind of what else there is to see from these guys. So
I'm surprised Hyodang isn't in
I
top
know, where
10.
the heck is Hyorin? Is she? Oof, number 19 with Paradise.
Oof.
That's 2 rungs below the Tell Me What to
Girl.
Do instrumental. Man,
What?
we really thought that one was
She's below an instrumental track?
Apparently
That's
the
just
US just
disrespectful.
loves
Y'all are,
SHINee.
Y'all are disrespectful.
This is disrespectful.
Okay.
But in any case, so let us know what you guys are
Congrats,
listening to
SHINee.
and what the best songs we should listen to on the repackage, because clearly we need to if they're taking over the charts this much. This song only came out less than 24 hours ago, so
Yeah, right.
we give us a break. But as we get into our deep cuts
cut.
of the week,
To another veteran boy group, is kind of
yes.
more like bittersweet.
Yeah, well, it's just I saw this everywhere, so we just thought we just needed to kind of give some takes, talk about what's happening. Is that Big Bang's top has officially been what do you call it? Or I guess
his like documents were processed or something, and it's like he's been officially put into the pile of names that will be enlisted in the next 3 months.
Right.
For what they call like police conscription is like the technical term.
Yeah, or he will be in the so back story, just in case you don't know, in South Korea there is a mandatory military requirement for all men. I think it's ages
Like
18 to 30 or
30,
something like
that's
that.
what I
So
think, yeah.
lots of K-pop idols, they'll, wait till their late 20s to serve, to obviously,
Postpone and try to,
keep their careers going as long as possible before, needing to take an inevitable break. And, lots of countries do have mandatory military service.
Right.
Israel
it's about
does.
2 years.
It's about 2 years, and Top, who is getting, is in his late 20s at this point. I think
he's 28.
He's 28, right? So it's right about that time for him.
It's like you gotta go. You gotta do it.
And you could even, if his birthday. Wait, let's see. His birthday is November 4th, 1987. So that would make him actually. Now he's 29. It was just his birthday. Last week or the week ago.
Oh, you're right. He is 2 years older than I am.
So I think, sometimes with celebrities, they give him a little bit of leeway. Right. But, he, took this exam to be, he passed the exam to be part of the policing unit for the military. And he will serve that. So basically, he needs to enlist within 3 months is what this means. So basically, it's kind of like we were waiting for this. When was this going to happen? Lots of fans were very worried about it.
How will it impact Big Bangs?
Yes.
Releases or potential releases that
more
or less have been confirmed.
So it's kind of just there's lots to talk about, because I think one, how does this affect Big Bang, like you were saying, what is this, it's also just sort of it really is, we've seen a couple celebrities of this era enlisting, like TVXQ, etc. But just also kind of what it means for this generation. So I guess in addition to the news that Top had passed his police exam, right away it seemed that news was coming that Big Bang is filming a music video for their comeback video, which I think we
did hear rumors about that.
Yeah, so it really seems like this Made album that was literally confirmed last September is finally coming, which I just feel like, one, very excited about it. I really do hope it is just a full-length album of
overdue
new material, and just really, I hope it, sees them ending on a exciting note. I don't know. I really want this legacy. We dedicated a whole episode to their 10-year anniversary. They have this huge legacy to live up to, and I just really hope it does. And I hope it's just something, like that will honor that legacy.
Yeah, for sure. Now I'm just thinking 3 months is a good amount of time, especially for one round of promotions.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if they dropped it by the end of this month.
Really?
They would have to, right?
Right.
If they want to get a solid 2 months promotion in there.
Or maybe, I feel like they, maybe they'll only do like, a 3-week thing or something, or a month long.
I guess you don't have to
something.
do like the full.
I'm sure he wants to spend some time.
And he does have
off.
And he definitely doesn't want to be exhausted for
exactly.
For training camp.
Right. And I feel like there'll inevitably be like one last big concert.
Oh, there
definitely
has to be. Yeah.
Didn't they just perform in Hawaii recently or something? Didn't that just happen?
I have no idea.
I thought I read something about it. I'm pretty sure they held some type of quote unquote fan meeting concert in Hawaii. But like, that's amazing for them. I'm happy for them.
Okay.
But it does seem like this is sort of like, oh my gosh, like we're not going to have Big Bang for a while. And granted,
but did they say that? Because didn't they ask YG's camp, and they said that it's all rumors of like either all members enlisting around the same time,
that's
or
interesting.
Which they like flat out denied, and they were like very upset that that was even in the media. And they said that I think YG said both Taeyang and GD were releasing solo albums in the next year. This is all stuff that I read in articles online. I don't know what the latest report is, which could very well be like, but I feel like if it was confirmed that they would officially go on hiatus as an entire group, that would have definitely be in the headlines.
Right. So I guess, so Big Bang is kind of interesting, right? Because there is all the members have had solo work duo work, unit work, what have you. GD's producing for other people,
sure.
et cetera, et cetera.
Fashion
Right.
stuff happening, yeah.
Exactly. Daesung in Japan,
Right.
like lots of activity obviously happening. But I think, YG probably won't say it flat out outright that, Big Bang is on, hiatus. He didn't even say that about 21.
Right.
But where's 21
Right,
been for the
right.
last
That would be
2
a
years?
very
Yeah.
would be the best move marketing wise.
Right, but it almost feels like, he's waiting until the end, before he inevitably needs to stop the group as a 5 unit
Right.
at least. And because I was reading about this, I saw on it was on a forum, on a Pan forum or something like that, about, lots of fans are really fed up with YG's very delayed comebacks, where they
Right.
take, 2 years or so in between albums. And, it's kind of funny to me reading that as a, someone in America when, almost every artist takes at least 2 years in between albums. And, I know it's a different release schedule. In K-pop, they release everything all at once. They typically don't have a second single or, follow-up singles. You kind of hope you have that longevity.
Right.
But to me, it's almost like I see them almost doing like the American thing and trying to make that work in Korea, although I don't know how successfully it's going. But I think a lot of people I think those fans are just, they see what SM and JYP and every other company is doing.
They get restless, right?
Yes, of course. And they lots of times K-pop moves so quickly that groups that had
That's
so
the thing,
much
like,
hype.
You have to try to match the pace of the industry that you're in.
Right. And so that's,
and you always risk,
yes,
like consequences and losses.
Right.
if you don't match that.
Right. And Winter was just, so much hype in 2014. And then we talked about them at the top of the year. And weren't they supposed to get like 4 releases this year? And we only got one.
Right.
And like,
That
Icon.
was a long time ago.
That was that was like our first episode, I think.
Right.
Wow.
One of the first ones.
Memories.
Oh my God.
But yeah.
It's like 40 weeks later.
40 weeks later, we're still waiting for the X release of the Exit release. But
oh my gosh.
yeah, like if anything, I almost feel like YG probably isn't sweating too much, depending on how the timing works, because he does kind of prefer these sort of longer hiatuses. Now, granted, that'll be different if, Seungri, the youngest member, decides to enlist much later. He could very well enlist, I think, because I think there's enough of an age difference that Seungri could enlist after Top gets out, right? There's more than 2 years in between them, right?
Because they're like 4 years apart.
Right. But I did see this cute little article going around that I guess Seungri said that G-Dragon said let's enlist together, it's just kind of cute and would probably keep the group closer together in terms of enlisting and whatnot.
Right.
But yeah, it's just kind of, I don't know, in my opinion, lots of time it feels it's a lot of bittersweet stuff, because we see, TVXQ enlisted, what was that, last year?
Yeah, and then like a couple Super Junior members.
Super Junior,
Tong
really
Hye
popular.
And someone else.
And Siwon, I think, is on.
Yeah, Siwon and Tong Hye, who are both really popular members.
Yeah, and Big Bang is about to go. I'm hearing about this was the last 2 p.m. album before they enlist.
Oh my God, that breaks my heart.
Oh, it's like, it really is this generation shifting.
Right.
Which, if people, which I don't know exactly how I feel about it. You see new groups coming in, of course, but, lots of times.
But the groups are enlisting are the ones who really helped solidify K-pop within Hallyu and its influence across the globe. It's like they set the tone for these, rookie groups coming in. So it's their place within K-pop is always going to be seen differently,
Exactly. And and I think a lot of fans see that too. Lots of new fans. I even think, if you're a new fan to K-pop, you at least are aware of these, groups, and that their place. And and that's the thing too, is that, for the longest time it was about the 5-year curse or whatever. I think we've talked about this in the past. But now, thanks to the international growth and, the Hallyu wave and all those things, it's like it really has grown to make sure that groups can stay around longer, keep making a very sizable income, and not need to disband at their height to, take advantage of all the, the hype that they have, but instead, maybe slow down just a tiny bit and, look at other projects and stuff like that, which I think is kind of amazing. But
Now, would you rather have it so that each member enlisted at a separate time so that the core group would all at least like have more members, or would you rather have them all just go around like the same year or year and two and some change?
I think the latter, because I think inevitably whenever even when a group member is missing or injured or something, you feel it, that like something's not totally the same and it's not as fun to
But what about from the fans' perspective? Do you think that if they all left around the same time, they would risk
just totally like losing everything instead of having like
they are like the
up there.
biggest boy group in Korea, but like you said, K-pop moves quickly. Maybe 10, 12 months later, it might be a different landscape. I don't know. And like when you don't have at least anything coming out.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough, right? Because I feel like with Big Bang, at least, maybe I would prefer them to sort of space it out a tiny bit because, I feel like when G-Dragon releases something, when Taeyang releases something, that still feels like the Big Bang brand is like there. And, we feel it and we know.
Because their sounds are they're pretty much.
Yeah, like with Taeyang, you get more of the R&B side of Big Bang. With G-Dragon, you get the more experimental hip-hop. Even with Sungri, I loved his solo stuff. There's definitely different aspects that all of them bring out and highlight more. So with them, it almost feels like, because even in between this, the live album and the made singles, when G-Dragon released, that was huge. And when Taeyang released, that was huge. It was like, okay, when Top released, that was huge.
That was definitely more than enough to feed the Big Bang fans.
So with them, it almost feels like, okay, like it's okay. With a group like maybe 2 p.m., I don't know if I think I would prefer them to just sort of take that break and then come back together.
Sure. Let's be real. Like Big Bang, definitely each member brings something different.
Yeah, and
as much
totally
as I love
groups.
2 p.m., bless their hearts, but like I definitely wouldn't say each member really brings something totally different to the table.
Ooh,
and I say that as like a big 2 p.m.
And you
fan.
love them.
I love 2 p.m.
No,
but
totally.
Like, no, I agree with you.
Yeah, yeah, so, I guess if we're strictly talking about Big Bang, maybe they could make it, ideally I wouldn't want it to be too long, maybe 3-4 years altogether, of the 5 of them not being together.
That's such a long freaking
It does sound, maybe, I would prefer probably 3 years, I think. I think 3 would be, because that was the time in between Alive and the made singles, I think. And, clearly, they found ways to fill that space in between. So I don't know. It definitely is a tough thing to, tough pill to swallow because, it's like, because when I read that report, I was like, man, it's really happening.
And he was always even though he was always very kind of quiet and understated, his personality, he's not, he really isn't like a super flashy guy, really. Right. But, he really had a strong presence because like not only was his physical appearance very striking obviously, but his voice was super super distinct, and he was always very very popular, and and no one really thought he would find such success in acting because again he really didn't talk a whole lot. So so he really did have these facets of his personality that really resonated with a lot of different fans. So it really is, it's not just, any member of any group leaving,
Yes.
Like, it is like hard to imagine Big Bang not being a quintet.
Right. So, yeah, I'm very curious to see how it goes. I hope we do get that full length album because I really do think it could just be a major, major moment.
Right.
Like, and not just in Korea and, America, all over the
Right.
world.
They would have to release it within the next 3 months. Like, can you imagine they release it after he enlists and
That
then
would be
they're like,
messed up.
okay,
Yeah. That'd be
we're
screwed
just
up.
gonna like
I was like, he's
perform
gone.
without him.
Yeah,
Like
no.
that would be so weird.
And they got,
So,
it's the right time. They're going to be right ahead of the holiday
For sure.
sales, whatnot. Unless they're unless things just aren't set, unless things are really crazy behind the scenes, I feel like we're going to get it.
For
so
sure.
I'm really looking
So
forward
there's
to
like
it.
the bright side to all
Yes,
this.
is that new music. Hopefully a full length album is
Yeah.
coming. So, yeah, and hopefully lots of music videos. We'll hope. But maybe
Yes.
not too many, but yeah. Yeah, but I don't know. Yeah, let us know
Let
what
us
you
know your
guys.
favorite top memory.
Oh, that's a good way to honor his memory.
yeah.
I love that.
Hashtag K-Stop.
Hashtag K-Stop baby. Don't forget to vote on your favorite song of the week. Listen to all the songs we're talking about in the playlist on Fuse.tv. And yeah, let us know. Let us know what you guys are feeling this week. What are you feeling for next week? Let us know. We're always watching.
Yes.
Yeah, so yes.
Yes.
So thank you guys as always for listening. This has been Jeff.
And this is Tina.
Thank you.
Bye. See y'all next week.
Bye-bye.